Welcome back to Life is Miserable.
Heck yeah.
Indeed. Hey, so, douche, sorry,
Hello.
principal
I
douche.
hope this isn't about the alleged gun incident.
There was though, God, you're lying.
No.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna bother with him anymore.
Glad to see you weren't about to accuse.
Trust me, even if you try to talk to him about this even further, he doesn't do anything. Trust me, he's a waste of your time.
So it's just like a real principal. I'm kidding.
You stole my joke.
Hey, Courtney. Ciao, Max. No photos, please. I have to come up with a guest list for a Vortex Club soiree. Really? Oh, like you care.
Okay, fuck you too
You're
then.
right. I don't. Making my guest list easier. Ciao.
Yeah, screw you then.
Fuck you, bitch.
Seriously.
Yeah, all of these people inside Victoria's Circle are just... Except for Taylor, as I'm gonna showcase later.
Mr. Madsen?
I know things got a little heated yesterday.
Okay, actually, don't worry, I can easily recap what this is. Well, don't worry, I can easily recap this. Give me just a moment so I can mention something that we actually talked about.
Hold on, I should actually mention, this is actually one of the commerce segments with David where he does kind of sort of apologize for stuff, and even he kind of hints that
I am
he's,
sorry about yesterday. I was
you
wrong,
know.
but upset.
Alright, fine.
Cannabis is not a big deal to you, but it has been to Chloe.
You're a combat veteran. She's no threat to you.
If I didn't care about her, I wouldn't care at all. When I was her age, I was out raising a lot more hell. She's better than that.
Of course. I was a shithead in my youth, so clearly all teenagers are shitheads. That makes sense.
No, that's not what he
That's
said.
not what he's saying.
I know it's fine, I'm just making a
Stepped
joke.
between
Dude.
us at a pretty bad time. She's another matter
Again,
entirely.
to give David credit, this moment does help him as a
this isn't
character to
just
the
about
point where
Kate Marsh.
he does
My concern
admit
is for
he
the
was in
safety
the
of
wrong
all
for how
Blackfield
he took
students,
things
including
overall.
you.
That'll take more than surveillance cameras.
It will take
I don't
more
know.
than Ms. Grant and her petition to find missing students.
Isn't that your responsibility as head of security? Unless you know something about Rachel Amber that nobody else does.
I don't want to fight with you anymore. I don't want to fight with anyone anymore. That's all, Max.
Okay, to his credit, he does actually mean that. This is, again, when I said that I still dislike Chloe more, it's this. David... Okay, one point in David's favor, the plot is not constantly trying to get us to like him. They just present him as a character, and it's up to you, the player, on whether or not you like him or whatnot. Again, with Chloe, they definitely want you to like her. Despite everything.
Because it's like, he basically doesn't want Chloe to end up like he did, basically.
Not an
Pretty
excuse in my
much.
opinion.
I still think he's incredibly, like, too harsh in how he handles
Did we
things,
have
like,
to-
because we
did we have
saw
to hit
what...
her, though?
Campaign going.
Yeah.
I was getting to that, like, that's what I was
Let her
just saying.
finish.
No, you don't hit your kids, anyway.
Yeah.
That's how they keep
But-
us all distracted.
Like,
Nobody will
we
notice
know,
cameras on every square
like,
foot.
this
Some of
scene
us want to use
just...
our cameras for good.
But people like David
It
Madsen
works
use
mostly
their
if you do
style.
pick the other option, yeah, where you
I'm not
intervene,
like
which you
him,
did.
Miss Grant.
Like,
I know, Max.
Probably, yeah.
he's
like-
he has a projection
Does not
issue.
end up
My thing is that in order to get over that horrible first impression, the game would need some serious, strong-ass writing, which it doesn't really have, if you ask me.
Which, yeah, that is still an
This
issue
whole
here.
campus
Again,
is a visual
if
delight.
you hate David, by
I know
all
Mr.
means
Jefferson
do.
loves to shoot
In fact,
around here.
I don't really like him that much as a character myself, but I will admit he feels like a much better attempt at an
Mr.
actually
Jefferson pretty
flawed
well
character, which the
I certainly
story
know him as a
acknowledges
talented artist and
is
terrific
flawed,
teacher.
and is actually trying to
been here a
work with
little
it.
longer,
Like, he has
but he's made a bigger
a
mark.
massive amount of
I have to
issues.
say,
However,
it's not
to the
quite
game's
automatic
credit,
yet.
it only presents it as a reason, never an excuse.
What about that
Which
snow
again
yesterday?
is more than can be said
What's
for
your
Chloe.
scientific explanation?
alcohol is moving beyond
Yeah.
explanation.
Don't worry, I can...
Chloe's just
Of course,
stupid.
some of
Don't
the
worry,
things
Oh
that
god,
they
yeah.
Oh, trust me, she's more than stupid, as you'll see. But anyway,
To get going.
Go on, Max.
I can easily recap what's going on here later. Basically, while we were talking over it later when I got out of the dorm, but basically I met Taylor, who's part of that, that friend of Victoria who called her an evil biatch. basically her mom is in the hospital, and we can choose to be nice to her and comfort her about it. And basically, she can at the very least be thankful and everything. So you can start a little subplot where Taylor will slowly over the course of the game warm up to you more, and by the time and if you play the cards right, by the time it's over, she's a genuine friend of yours by that point. So that's a nice
is neat.
yeah, that is a neat thing that I wanted to point out that we talked over. In the meantime,
How
Brooke,
funny is it that this girl with the glasses reminds me of the protagonist of Life is Strange 3?
Let me get in your way.
oh, you mean Alex? I think she looks more like Stephanie than, but whatever. We can talk about Stephanie later.
I think Brooke looks like a combination between Alex and Stephanie.
You look
Anyway,
confused.
yeah, that's the basic gist of it. Brooke is, of course, she even talked about Warren and everything, because again, if I don't go on the shipping path of Warren, Brooke will actually, make her advances, basically. I find it just how in this science class there's only 2 students. I mean, I get that it's not, it hasn't ringed yet,
Warren,
but,
this seems kind of dangerous. You might as well flip a switch, Frankenstein.
Also, dude, where are your goggles?
Gee, Shiro, it's like the people who made this game have never actually been in a science lab before.
Okay, to be fair, as far as we know, class hasn't started yet.
But he's already like.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh. Yeah, okay, good question.
Teacher,
Where's
hello,
Balthazar?
are you not seeing this?
The teacher, trust me, Shiro, the teachers in this school fucking suck.
Hey, Warren.
I would not want to go to this school.
Okay, I'm just typing in now. How are the French at
I have a
science?
vision.
Okay.
He's English, Pedro. The English kind of have it in for the French.
Apparently, according to the Global Innovation Index, as recently as 2011, France are 11th.
Remember, there's Marie Curie.
Sorry, 2021, sorry.
Remember, there's Marie Curie was the French woman that split the atom originally. Like, I can think of some brilliant.
So, yeah, so it's not like the French are dumb when it comes to science or anything,
Hi
so
again, Miss
what
Grant.
gives?
Well, maybe it's just bad writing, Dibs.
Miss Grant, can I ask you a possible?
How
dumb
are the
science
French
question?
at writing?
You know my stock.
Well, they can be good.
Yeah, I'll look at that actually. Thanks, Siri.
No, that was a
Too late.
joke.
Too late, you said it.
For this week's
Shiro, what about? Well, Shiro, the Plague Tale series doesn't seems to go by just fine.
I'm sorry, Miss Grant.
True,
but
true.
I have to get going.
Hey, Three Musketeers is a great book.
Oh no, definitely. Alexander Dumas. There's also Federico Fellini, the greatest French filmmaker of all time. Remember, film cinema was invented in France. So if they would know something, it would be films, obviously.
Warren, you need to act
Okay, I just
boring.
checked and there's nothing about that. All I get is how to write in French.
I mean,
Much
I guess
like-
you can't really get an overall metric. Although, again, it is...
Let me just recap.
Oh.
Basically, you can ask the teacher what is the correct ingredient, and then you can rewind so that she never knows that that you asked, and then you can just tell Warren, and he'll be able to successfully do the experiment and get a good grade.
I wonder, are they like just in after school or before school or something, and that's why it's just the 3 of them in the classroom, maybe?
You're about to get your answer in a couple minutes, Jova. So hold on.
He's pretty cute when he's in full-on geek mode.
Full-on geek mode.
Aw.
Well, hey, at least I saw an explosion. I looked like I was promised.
There you go. See, Dwebs? We all win. Or maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, I should attend art class. It says right there in the objective. So yeah, there is going to be art class, Jova. So yes, that would be it's about to ring, most likely.
Oh, okay, so they're in here before school in that regard, what you're saying. So they're probably doing some extracurricular work, and that might be why they're the only ones in the science room?
The big problem for me is that if you take a look at Max's school schedule on her bedroom or dorm room, if you prefer, according to that schedule, she did miss a couple classes by hanging out with Chloe. So Chloe's already being a bad influence on her.
So there you go, guys. SpongeBob just got mentioned in a Square Enix game.
There you go. I mean, it's probably the only time it will, considering Square are trying to downplay their Western
Warren.
Which
helping
I
Warren
think
with
is
his
a
latest
bad
experiment.
decision on
Oh,
their
you go.
part
I
instead of.
guess he needed a new.
Hey, if you can put in a good word for Warren.
Threatened. But you came to his rescue anyway.
Not me.
Not me. Warren doesn't need my help.
The boy knows things.
I hate to hit and run, but
Don't let me get in your way. So long.
I don't. Okay. Well, I mean, Joe. To be fair, people were a bit grumpy in regards to how Square were treating their Western IPs. So in the long run,
Oh, that's as important
being
to
told
us.
to
You have to
embrace her
understand my
is
position.
yeah.
Looks like Kate was bothered by whatever Jefferson just said.
But what could that have been?
Excuse me, Max. Can you come over here?
sure.
You look worried. Is everything okay?
Sorry to bother you, Mr. Jefferson.
I'm only bothered when you avoid turning in photos. But you know this. So what can I do for you, Max?
Just between you and me, I'm worried about Kate Marsh.
That's no secret. Word on the street is that you and Kate had a little confrontation with our security chief yesterday.
That is true, yes.
I stepped in between David Madsen barking all up in Kate's face about something. She doesn't deserve that.
Of course not. Mr. Madsen isn't the most gentle soul. Do you have proof he instigated the situation?
And there you go. See, if you had chosen to take the photo instead of intervening when David was hackering Kate, you would have a good photo evidence to show in this
And
bit.
Max, I promise this matter is being discussed. by
There's
faculty.
the butterfly in the
assume
top
you know
left
about
to
this
show
viral
that
video?
this is a divergent moment.
Yep, the butterfly effect.
Kate is freaked out by all of this. She can't do homework while she's being tormented on a daily basis.
What if Kate?
Excuse me, miss, don't pass in front of the camera,
Well,
please.
Maybe stop protest too much. She seems like she's holding back the truth. Have you talked to her?
Yeah, that is true. I missed the call because, according to Chloe, I should be on her every whim at all times.
Yes, I've talked to her this
But I did talk to her this morning, though.
Oh.
Friends and support now.
What is it, Lips?
I just don't want Kate Marsh.
I
to
was gonna say
become
that's the thing, Paige. You're talking about
Rachel,
I'm gonna make
remember?
this one choice, but zing, I'm
What
doing
does she
this
have to
other
do with
one.
Kate?
with all her missing
Well,
persons posters around.
I was pondering
it's hard to know
what choice to pick.
I miss Rachel too.
Like I said, I didn't answer the call, but I did talk to her this morning.
Alice told me about
So-
what you said happened in the bathroom.
Let's talk about Nathan.
It did happen.
I think something is ready to do this.
This is a serious accusation, Max.
So you don't believe me? I would never make something like this up.
Sorry, Max. Without proof, I can't really do anything. You need proof. I can't just take your word for
I
it.
believe him.
Listen, should I?
Excuse me, Max.
I mean, for all I know, you might have an angle.
Yes? Hold on. I have to take this, so just go into class and I'll be there soon.
Okay.
Good talk.
Good talk, yes.
Stella is smart to stay out of all the drama.
Dana, you are out of control. Turn left,
Hmm.
turn right. Show me
What's
the
up,
love.
Daniel?
Waiting to drop
How do I
Dana
look,
after
Taylor?
Hayden gets his
You look like
paparazzi
ass.
on. Don't worry, Max. I won't ask you again to pose for me.
Please don't be offended. I feel like a dork when somebody talented asks me to pose.
Trust me, I understand.
I'd love to
Okay,
get
then.
a second chance at art history with you.
Someday your portrait may hang in the Daniel
Face
de
looks
Costa
so
wing of the
weird
Louvre.
compared to everyone
Talk about
else's.
it
Like,
later.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but his face looks like it's drawn textured on compared to others, which are properly textured.
That's a line. Not now, Max. I'm contemplating shit.
What are you contemplating?
The rain, I guess.
Rain.
Alright, so that's one more photo for our collection. And Hayden is busy.
I'm kind of doing
There you go.
something now, Max.
No time to talk, Max. Posing in the
Yeah,
crowd.
Taylor's taking
You
photos
think
as well.
Max will be
Oh,
proud
look.
we're sitting at her desk?
Oh, I'm sure she'll report us to the principal. Like I give a flying fuck.
Or she'll run to Mr. Jefferson like he gives a shit.
It's Mr. Evil and Mrs. Evil.
Max is such a little...
Shh, I think she can hear us.
Too late.
Better be quiet, Victoria.
Well, hey, they're made for each
Master
other.
Snitch and liar here.
Did you think we were best
They're best friends,
forever?
but yeah, like Lucy says, yeah, they'd be a perfect for each other. Clearly, they both love the exact same evil things.
Can I
It
sit
seems.
down now?
Oh, please do. Take a
What did
selfie
I
at
miss?
this moment.
Not much.
Yeah,
Basically, the
that's why I won't
Mr. Evil and Mrs. Evil here were sitting in my desk, and they called me a snitch and a tattletale and all that shit. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, and Kate left the school crying because of something Jefferson said, but we don't know what it was. Oh, wait.
Okay, why is David taking photos of Kate? Now this is so wrong.
And there you go. Now I hate him again. There you go. That didn't take long.
No.
It's got to be a record.
Oh, hey, Warren.
What up, Max?
Hey, Warren.
There better be some real good context for that, David.
Oh boy. Honestly, I'll admit, I'm surprised that you actually stopped dating him at once, but yes, there is context for it. Again,
Beat it.
We'll get
whether
to
or not
it.
it's justifiable is debatable at
Oh no, I
best.
don't like him, but like he's a very muddied character. I still agree that Chloe is worse right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Everybody has seen
Again.
Marsh by now.
Hold on.
David does... Oh.
Kate Marsh has not come into class.
And I kind of hate David more on the count that he's supposed to be an authority figure, and yet he's being a massive dickhead.
I can see what this means.
Yeah.
Oh, message.
Yeah,
Oh, look,
absolutely.
message from.
Smartphones in class, Max. Put that away.
It's okay. It's from Chloe. She probably has nothing interesting
Yeah,
to
we can
say.
ignore her.
Judge, so they never take a good look.
Notebook. We can look at our book, or we can draw in our notebook.
We can only
while the
blame
class is
ourselves
going.
for participating.
Basically, now we're having a David Cage style grounded moment where we have to wait for the plot to come in.
Photo tips.
Is this what? That's the thing though. This and that. I'm waiting around for the plot to start. You know, if it weren't for a plague tower, I'd have thought this was a common thing in French
I'm
video
sure you read the
games.
syllabus like it was a Harry
Well, yes, it's abundantly clear that Quantic Dream's work was one of the influences for this game. I mean, it's the same. I mean, Heavy Rain's success probably is what started stuff like the Telltale games that we saw with the first Walking Dead, and this one, you know, like for as much as we don't like that game.
Telltale games were a thing before Heavy Rain.
Well, they were, Joe, but it was after Heavy Rain in 2010 that they started making more narrative-driven episodic games with choices and all that shit. Because before.
No. The Jurassic Park Telltale game was a thing before Heavy Rain. And that one pretty much functions like that too.
Oh, is it? I didn't even know they made a Jurassic Park game.
Yeah, Jurassic Park Telltale games. Let's see.
Well, I didn't know about that one. Well, even still, though, the point is, Heavy Rain was clearly very influential, specifically when it comes to this genre. And Kate just killed herself.
She can't.
Alright, and this is where I start taking an issue with the powers.
Not again.
I tolerated them until now, but this is where things start getting, they start crossing the line for me. So yeah, no matter how many
You
times
have to watch this repeatedly.
basically, Shira, you have to rewind a couple times until the cutscene hits. Right now.
Okay, now we're in.
And sorry, Shira, there's no way to disable these visual effects.
Yeah. You know, yeah, okay. Can I watch the time in a bottle scene from X-Men?
Yeah. Okay. So Max now can not just rewind, flat out stop time. Okay. You can make an argument that maybe she's just paused the rewind, and that's how she has time stopped.
That's
Okay.
kind of what I'm guessing from
Okay. Cool. But however, Shiroi, unfortunately, we have a plot contrivance coming to us right now regarding the powers. Okay, so now we have to try our best to convince Kate not to kill herself. That's okay, I can just rewind if I fail, right?
We're not going to be allowed to do that, are we?
Wait for it.
Yell to her! Yell to her!
What are you doing here, Max? Stop! Don't come
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore.
No, it won't work.
Yeah, throughout this one scene, you cannot rewind. And for the record, this will only be a thing in this scene. You will start working immediately after this scene, and we will never have to deal with the time travel powers not working ever again after this. This is literally, the developers literally have the powers just not work out of nowhere just so that you can't turn back this particular decisions. Now, I understand that you want to make this, like the player has to live with the consequences of the choices he's made with Kate up until this point. I understand that. However, it creates an inconsistency with the time travel powers. Up until this point, Max has always been able to rewind, and there's no particular reason why she can't rewind this one time, because trust me, she's going to be doing a lot more time traveling throughout this game, and there will never be a point where the powers fail again. So this is just a contrivance. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, I'm okay with the time travel powers, but you have to be consistent about how they work, because if you just make them not work in this one specific scene, it comes across as contrived, just because you want to force the player to not to have to live with the consequences of the scene.
Okay, to bring things back to the current thing, well, gee, Chloe, this is what happens when I don't answer the phone of my suicidal friend.
Yeah,
She starts to have doubts on me.
Yeah, if you miss the call, fortunately, you don't have to take the call necessarily to save her. You can still save her. Like, you don't have to get all the choices right. That's why I told her to go to the police earlier, so I could afford to miss the call, See, sure, this is why I'm doing things fast. I know what I'm doing, basically.
You because I believe you were drugged. We will find out who did this and make
Remind me, is this about this not being your first playthrough, or you looked up a lot of this stuff to plot out the best course?
I've already played this game like 3 times before this.
Maybe, okay, I know it created a plot contrivance, but maybe the reason they chose to do it this way, because they thought, hey, we'll rewind you out of wanting to commit suicide was, pretty fucking disrespectful to the subject matter.
And that would be fine.
Result
Sorry.
in massive plot contrivance.
And that would be fine, Shiroi. But here's all they had to do to fix that problem. They could just have it so that the powers don't work here. And then later, we learned that the reason they didn't work here is because if she uses them way too much over the course of a single day, it starts not working. So she has to rest physically in order for the power to start working again. If they establish that after this, that would be fine. That's all they had to do. That's all I wanted.
And that would make sense because we've seen her nose bleed.
However, Shiroi, the game will never address why this happens. And like I said, trust me, there's going to be a lot more time traveling over the course of this game, and the time travel will not fail after this scene. It just failed this one scene so that the developers could force you into this specific situation, basically.
Also, Max, that was not a good statement.
No. Sorry, Shiroi.
Not only
like
that,
I know she's not qualified to know what to do in this situation, but like that was a no, Max, no.
No, not bad.
Okay.
But yeah, Shuri, hold on, with me first. Shuri, back to your thing about it being insulting if you can just rewind time to undo suicide. Yeah, that kind of falls flat also when you consider the fact that we've been using time travels to prevent Chloe's death no less than 3 times at this point now.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Go ahead, James.
Okay, I've seen plots survive really big contrivances like this one. Like, you know how in like Ant-Man, for example, like how they established that like even if you shrink things, they don't lose their mass, they only lose their size. And yet, and yet they can carry around the tank on a keychain.
Well, okay, that's Sexman, right? That you just said, or
Okay, but the reason the film like that can survive contrivance like that is because the rest of the story is at least responded entertaining.
And here's the thing, Dibs.
This isn't true.
Allow me to help you, Dibs. There's another thing that movie has to its advantage. It's a comic book movie. Comic book science, you give it some leeway because comic book science has always been, very out there with the stuff it does. So you kind of, it's kind of part of the genre. Like this has been a thing since comic books became a thing. Science in comic books has always been very Metal Gear-ish. Again, like that's why I said Metal Gear was had influence on Western comic books. So
I mean, the film did kind of make a big deal of that fact, yet it ignored it in the same movie. So.
Well, yeah, no, that's more of a problem. I will agree with it.
Real hero.
As principal of Blackwell Academy, I
Also, what was that, David? Like, yeah, real hero. It's like,
yeah, I don't know what that. I don't know what that. I think it's because I haven't been answering him nicely. Maybe. Go on.
Maybe, yeah.
As our head of
security,
those roof doors should
that
always
might have to do with it. I do find it a bit weird that we had that after a relatively more amicable conversation, but yeah, admittedly, the whole way that
Mr. Jefferson
chosen to answer and probably has not helped the relationship meter on that.
But Kate has assisted you in class, so you should have known something was amiss.
You're all fired.
It's one of those things, Dibs, like I said, where the game doesn't actually properly establish a rule for for how the time travel works. As a result, the time travel not working in that scene and never at all have that happening again in the rest of the game at all comes across as just the developers did that specifically so to force you to not be able to rewind, so you have to live with the consequences of that. And like Shira said, I can understand why they did it because the whole you can rewind to save someone from suicide and all that shit could be dangerous, a problematic thing to have in a game. But again, like I said, that would be an incredibly easy thing to solve with the example that I just mentioned, and Shiri agreed with me. So, seriously, I literally just pulled this out of my ass. It's an incredibly easy problem to solve.
Okay, I'll just point out this easy thing. All they had to do was just give a simple rule.
Yeah.
Max can only go back so far in time.
Yeah, that's what I said.
This junkie's word over your security officer? I know she smokes and
Principal, he's being manipulative.
Accusing other people seems to be a habit. I trust my security officer.
The guy who didn't lock the doors?
This accusation is true. Therefore, Max, I'm obliged to contact your parents and suspend
this game.
Days.
Excuse me. I think Max and Nathan need a break before we grill them further.
Alright, I'm with Jefferson on this one, yeah. Probably we should do this some other time where it's not exactly the best of times right now.
I'm devastated right now. I'd like to be with
Fuck you. Like you care about
I
Kate.
sound so devastated right now. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I asked Dibs, I'm so devastated. Can't you tell by my acting performance about how devastated I am?
Alright, so let's go back in time. Maybe something that's a bit more tangible.
Alright, this time, now we've seen what happens with that. Let's do this again, and now let's fast forward. Alright, so this time, let's say that Nathan dozed her instead of David bullying her.
All I know is that.
But let me guess, in this case, the principal goes on the bet that he also accused him of the gun, and that is supposedly, quote-unquote, false.
Also, I love that line that Max said at the beginning of this cutscene. It looks like I can rewind now. Yeah, you can just... now, when it's convenient for the game, you can now rewind all of a sudden again. Even though... So the whole, she can't do it when she's super tired excuse goes out the window now, because she should still be tired by this point because the day's not over. So yeah, again, this would be so easy to fix. Like a very quick rewrite would have fixed this so easily, like I've just demonstrated.
Wait, hold on.
And I have to admit that the video in question was sent to me by multiple sources,
including
Wait. So the principal actually does believe that he could have been responsible, and it sounds like he's actually believing that the gun incident may have been true? Which is it then? So 1 minute the principal's a scumbag, the next minute he actually is doing his job?
consistent characterization. What the fuck is that shit? However, Jova, don't expect this to last because he's talking a lot about right now, but he's not really gonna go through with it by the end of this.
Yeah, because the family's got money.
Yeah. Sure, I got it. Go on, Jova. Go on.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I get that. It's like, well, though, I feel like the way that they could be portraying him could make it in a way that's a bit more clear that he's clearly not going to do that. Because, again, it feels inconsistent. Like, and again, as far as he has suggested, he thinks the gun incident is false. But now suddenly going off of this sequence, it seems like he thinks the gun incident may have merit to it. Like, I mean... Wouldn't it have made more sense for him to doubt Maxus because he doesn't believe about the gun incident?
I'm guessing we're supposed to interpret, Jova, that he secretly knows that, yeah, the press cuts are crap. It's just that he feels like he can't do anything about it. He has to turn a blind eye. Otherwise, yeah, you know what happens.
The school gets a lot of money from them.
I'm guessing that's what we're supposed to interpret, Jova.
This game really needs to start taking a eat the rich mentality.
So, like, what? Are we supposed to think that he's, like, doing this noble sacrifice to keep the school open or whatnot?
Look, Joe, I don't know. I'm trying my best, but I can't quite figure this out, okay? Like, just...
I think we can all come to the conclusion that this game's narrative does not exactly have the best of writing.
A human halo. Oh...
Yeah. Try to kill herself.
Basically, sure, I'm playing through the first Halo game right now. The Halo game is really good, actually.
Just 1.5 times.
Warren, I don't mean to sound weird, but there's something ominous going on at Blackwell.
You know what?
Oh, you think? The school that is constantly said to be run and owned practically by the balls by a rich family. And has a mysterious past of a girl who went missing. And has a conspiracy practically going on amongst the Vortex Club. Might have something ominous. Not to mention the supernatural stuff as well.
I thought you were supposed to be smart, Warren.
No. Hold on, that was Max.
Oh, was it? Okay, never mind. Max, you're stupid.
Also, if that is an eclipse right now, you're not really supposed to be looking at it.
Yeah, we should have specific classes, or at the very least a cardboard box with holes in it.
Yeah.
I'll believe anything.
Hey, and then in the background you can, and then somewhere in the side you can see Snake looking at the sunset. In fact, I kind of wish he was here right now. Go on, Joe.
Wrong company.
I don't know how much I should credit. I don't know how much I should credit the bit about Max being able to talk Kate out of suicide or whatnot. On the one hand, it is not exactly the most well-written version of it.
No, it's not.
On the other hand, it's sadly one of the better ones I've seen, which just goes to show how people can be writing this kind of stuff. Like, okay, let me put it like this. I think the best way to describe this is like, well, sometimes if you pick just the right set of options, you might get some better characterization. In other options, you just get stuff that seems badly written. Now, some might think, well, duh, multiple choices. No, what I mean is like, well, it feels like you gotta do a very specific choice to get the better writing in this game. Now, a good game of this nature should have it feel that, well, all the routes feel, at the very least, well-written enough.
Like Doki Doki.
Even if some feel a bit out of character, they should still feel like they're pulling off a good enough narrative. This one feels like some ones are definitely better written than others.
Guess what? Frank has a doggo. Basically, sure. While he may seem rough, like we've seen. Okay, you know how David, the developers are trying to, make you understand David more and make you, not hate him as much. I feel like with Frank, they actually do manage to succeed.
Which is ironic because Frank starts off as even more of a scumbag than David when we first meet him.
I will say this. I actually think Frank is much better written than David, actually. But again, we'll get to it.
Okay, like.
Oh, hi.
Okay, I think Pedro has really helped spotlight another issue with this game. it is inconsistent and unleveled as all hell.
Oh, let me just say
feels-
what's in the message for Shira. Basically, she just said, Chloe just said sorry about Kate, and then Max is like, we're going to find out together tonight what's going on at Blackwell. There you go. Okay.
Oh God.
Go ahead, Jova.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing though. Some things feel like they're given a lot more attention than other things in the story.
Hold on.
To the point where
Back to the thing with the files. What is this room and where is it? Supposedly this is the room of the villain.
wait.
Oh, crap. So whoever did that to Kate is the same guy who did whatever else to Rachel. Or woman, maybe. Depending on whoever did it. The person, basically.
Yeah. Anyway,
didn't Chloe say before that David has a bunch of files hidden away?
why, yes, she did, and we did see him taking a picture of Kate. Now, did we?
We're actually going to take a look at his files later, Shira. Anyway, we told Kate to go to the police. We didn't answer Kate's call. We tried to shoot Frank. We saved Kate's life, and we blamed Nathan. And these are the minor choices. All right. So before I continue, preview.
Anyway, if I may,
go on.
The problem with this game's narrative is really just that it is all over the place with what gets better focus. Like, for instance, Max is kind of a nothing character. Now, except for the moments where she does actually get to do some stuff. And it doesn't feel consistent. It feels like they're peppered throughout, whether or not she has actual agency or whatnot. This is also partially dictated by the inconsistency of her powers. Then you get certain characters here. Now, again, just because a character gets a certain amount of focus doesn't always mean that they're well written, but it feels like there is no rhyme or reason here and there. Like, sure, you got some characters like Warren or Chloe, but then you got other characters like David and Frank who, again, ironically are better written than the main protagonist and the dear protagonist Chloe in that regard. And it's weird because it feels like certain characters should be done better here and there. And you know what? Maybe this is just your typical bad narrative, but there's just something unique about how inconsistent this game feels.
All right, before we
put my finger on it.
All right, before we end the part, let me just finish real quick something about the whole Kate thing. In order to save Kate, one of the things, you remember how when we were in Kate's room, I was looking at her Bible verses, her favorite Bible verses, also looking at her photos, and we noticed that she has two sisters who really like her and all that stuff. That's important information that you need to check, so you'll have the option to bring up her favorite verses of the Bible, and the fact that her sisters would, of course, be devastated if she did this. So basically, you can't, like I said, if you play your cards right, you can still save Kate, even if you miss her call to please Chloe.
Which, you know what? To give him credit, that's probably a good call, because otherwise, that would make Chloe kind of indirectly responsible for Kate's death, partially, if you weren't given that option here and there. And I guess maybe it would have been to teach you that your actions have consequences here and there, but, like, come on.
Anyway, before we go, Shira, do you have anything to add?
Okay, I do agree with Jova that this scene where Max is talking Kate down is better than a lot of ones I have seen as well, especially since, you know, Max is also just a student, is in no way qualified to deal with this situation. She's just somebody who wanted to help. So I feel like it went fairly well, but we've already discussed why it's a problem with the powers. Which, as you said, Pedro, could be easily explained away after this, and you know they could use that to explain the nosebleeds and what looks like headaches because we see her keel over a lot. Like that could, you know, that they could have explained that, no problem. But you said that the game doesn't.
Like I said, Joe. Like I said, Shira, you can make an argument. Oh, but don't you see? Even though the game doesn't flat out say it, you can basically deduce that conclusion by the fact that she nosebleeds and she faints. Well, that would be fine. However, like we've just said, right after we saved Kate and went to the principal's office, suddenly we can rewind with no issue again. You know?
It's already been a couple of days in game and we haven't had this limit before. I guess you could argue that they're slowly introducing mechanics, but I feel like explaining it would be better honestly, because like again, very sensitive scene right there.
Sure. Forget sorry, go on.
That's not the only thing, though. Like, part of me does wonder if they initially did plan for there to be a limit, which technically in-game there is with how far you can go back. However, the thing that sunk it is ironically the first time Chloe ever goes back in time. Because the first time the first time Max goes back in time. God, she's so unmemorable, I'm mixing her up with other characters. But yes, the first time Max goes back in time is way longer than any other time you can go back in time. Well, at least as far as you do go back with her in time at that point, essentially. So unfortunately, that first scene pretty much shot any chance of them saying that there's a limit in the foot. Because, again, the amount of time that we can go back in game is way shorter than when we could in the first scene, which implies that Max could go back in time, at the very least, to that length in time, which was longer. And with that amount of time, she would arguably be able to get stuff easier in motion to save Kate, so... yeah...
But aside from
wrote
that,
themselves into a corner there.
Also, Shiroi,
No,
Shiroi, forget explaining it. How about actually, like, they wouldn't even necessarily need to explain it. Just have it actually happen. Just have that be what happens. That she
have
gets
her
tired.
pass out or something.
But she doesn't. She immediately, now that it's convenient for the game, now she can suddenly rewind again, even though she just got out from the rain. You know, she's still exhausted supposedly. You know, so
even though I think we saw her nose bleed again when she was at the door to the roof because she kind of wiped her face. It was kind of hard to see, but like they could have just. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah. all right, everybody. In the next part, we'll start episode 3. See you then.
See ya.